Okay, everyone can hear me. Okay, so today it's quite exciting. Last week or the week before when I was in Bali, so we got a chance to meet with Hong Kong brand partner, and someone came to me and said this, said, "Wow, you are very daring, asking people to not to take fruits, asking people to take more white rice. If you are in Hong Kong, people will be carrying gun to shoot you down already." Then I say, "Yeah, this is why I'm born in Malaysia. I can say anything I like." So and then she shared with me about her journey, and wow, I tell you, is nothing short of miracle. And and one thing really surprised me is her, what do you call her command of English. The pronunciations is very proper. Okay, so later you guys is going to find out. So let me see if Eleanor is online already. Okay, Eleanor is here. So Eleanor, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Eleanor. Did I
Hi.
pronounce your name correctly?
Yes,
Okay, so guys,
doesn't matter. I'll answer to anything as long as it's not rude.
okay, okay. So, guys, I just want to check because I'm in hotel in Sabah. Sometimes the line wasn't here. Can you guys hear me clearly? Can you guys hear Eleanor clearly? If yes, type 222. If you can hear both of us clearly, type 222. Okay, so then we will start it right now, huh? Eleanor, so can you briefly explain about can you briefly introduce yourself? Where you come from, your age, and before we get into the testimonial, and then your background, what was your profession and things like this?
Well, I'm from Hong Kong, made in Hong Kong, and live in Hong Kong. I'm 79 years old in July. In 2022, I had lymphoma, and the nodules were on my pancreas. I also found out that I had cadmium poisoning. Cadmium is one of the heavy metals. And now I'm all clear about the cancer, and the cadmium is really way down because I had the recommendation dosage to detox from the lab that tested that I had cadmium. So
Right,
I should be all clear.
right,
I
right,
will
right.
I will live as long as my money will last.
And one thing I remember from Eleanor, he said that instead of giving my money to the doctor, I'm the one who use it, and hopefully that before I die, I still have money. Okay, so Eleanor, how did you came across life with, and before that, how were you diagnosed? What were the symptoms that, like for example, you get very dizzy, and then you go to hospital, and then you get diagnosed? What was the process like before you know you got lymphoma?
There were absolutely no symptom. I was
Right.
thinking of changing my medical insurance. So I went to the pre-insurance checkup, and that's when the doctor pressed on my abdomen and found out that there's a lump and
Mm,
recommended I start investigation, CAT scan, PET scan, and all that. Then it found out that I have 8 to 10 nodules on my pancreas, and the largest one is actually 9 cm, which is
9 cm.
not small. Yes. But by
Right.
the time I had, that was March, and then my school friend, Peggy, actually told me about this stem cell patch. How she came across it was because of her sister. Her sister was in Toronto, scheduled to have a stem cell operation, which was cancelled because of COVID. So
Mm,
she came across this stem cell product. she bought it in order to post it to her sister in Toronto. And then she heard that I had lymphoma, so she told me about it. And I went to the naturopath who sent us, both of us, the email about it, which happens to be Dr. John Chen. So I went to have one session with Dr. John Chen, and then I got invited to her Saturday afternoon party that I came across 3 or 4 persons who gave testimonies about the LifeWay patches. So I bought I joined, I bought the product immediately. I mean, I have got nothing to lose. What I like about it is that there's no medication, and B, I don't have to ingest it, because I really don't believe in taking medication. It has to go through the filter system of the intestines, and I never know how effective it is. But the LifeWay patches, it affects the cells directly. And before LifeWay, I have used other energy products. So I understand the theory. That's how I started using the patches from March, well, from April actually, until now. And I use the patches right through my cancer treatment, the target treatment, chemo. I don't know whether it's the patches or other products such as essential oil or ultrasound bath. During my target treatment and chemo in July, I did not lose any hair. I kept my weight. My blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, everything was normal average. I never had anything chronic. So by October, I had my second PET scan. Everything was cleared. And 1 year later, at the public hospital, second checkup, 6 months, I actually found out that I put on 9.5 pounds. And the nurse was very, very surprised. And she said, wow, this is great. Yang Huiling, 你很伟大，好伟大. Because nobody put on weight in the cancer center.
Amazing.
Anyway, so there you are.
Right. So you are saying April 2022 or 2023 or 2024?
22.
Okay,
Same year, well, 1 month after I was diagnosed, 1 month, because I think I found out about LifeWave probably end of March. And I started using probably end of March, April.
Right.
And I used all the patches.
Right. And I remember during the Bali trip, you mentioned about because you need to go to UK to attend your son's wedding. This is why you try to delay the cancer treatments. Can you try to brief us again the story?
Well, I had to get on a flight to London for my younger son's wedding. So, and things took time. So first they had the CAT scan, then they had the PET scan. Then I had to look for a private oncologist because I can't wait for the public system. So by the time I had everything sorted out, they have slotted me for 4 doses of target treatment, which is by infusion. And that was scheduled for July. And then at the same time, I had 3 weeks oral chemo. So during this time, I had very good friends. Kat Leung was one of them, who used her essential oil energy treatment on me. And also I had sound treatment. Another friend lent me a gong, and another friend who played a gong came once every week. But Kat came, I think, I can't remember, probably 2-3 times a week.
Wow.
For the total, 4 weeks for June, July, until I left for London. Yeah. So everything was done simultaneously.
Right.
And I retained my appetite, and I could sleep, no problem. And I could release. I wasn't constipated at all. So 马照跑，
舞照跳。
人照跳舞，舞
Right.
照跳。
Right.
So
And when
everything
you were
was
right, and when you are in London, how many months are you in London?
probably, I stayed about 1 month. I came
Okay.
back end of September. Then
Right.
I went to have my second PET scan
Right.
in October.
Right.
That's when I got the all clear.
I see. So you went to London, which is the country is much colder, and yet you didn't do any cancer treatment. But when you come back, then the cancer all clear.
Yeah. Well, the cancer treatment was only for 1 month.
Right.
Although the oncologist actually, after the PET scan saying that it's 95% clear,
Right.
then there were 2 of them. They work as a team. They told me that I need 2 years of radio treatment on my pancreas. And I had to carry on oral chemo for, I can't remember how many months, probably
Right.
1 to 3 months. I couldn't remember, which was
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
And I told my public hospital oncologist, and as I was telling him, he actually frowned and frowned and frowned. And bless him, he actually said he would advise me not to go for it because
Wow.
he said, yes, because he said pancreas at the moment seemed to be working 100%. It wasn't affected by the target treatment and the chemo. It still seemed to be functioning by the blood tests. And radio treatment will kill part of it, and i.e. it would no longer be functioning 100%. And since the cancer cells are no longer active, according to the report, 95% would be dead. So there's no need for further chemo, which will do Y area of damage. So he
Right.
actually said he doesn't see any point of it. And certainly, I don't believe in Western medicine. And I have kept up with my Chinese acupuncture and the wormwood treatment, because according to the Chinese doctor, my body is very cold. But these are not intrusive.
Right.
So I kept it up until end of the year. So I had been to the Chinese doctor at first during the before the chemo,
Right.
and after the chemo, I went 3 times a week. But
Right.
when I came back from London, I only went once a week.
Right.
Basically, to warm up my system by the
Right.
wormwood treatment, and
Right.
also for the acupuncture. But
Right.
when I asked my Chinese doctor about heavy metal, he shook his head. There's no such thing with the Chinese. Technology wasn't advanced. They didn't know
Right.
anything about heavy metal.
Right.
And Chinese medicine is not monitored to the extent that I don't know whether the soil affects the herbs, whether they've actually contained heavy metal or not. So I'd stop any herbal medicine that I have to ingest. So I only had the acupuncture and the wormwood treatment, which is 艾草是好像是一个暖的一个 warming machine.
Right.
So it was to warm up my abdomen.
Right.
So I had the machine warming up on me for about 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
I really don't know how effective it is, but I guess with the light and the heat, some of it is bound to be absorbed into my body. Yeah.
Right. So the entire 2024, that means about 2023 year end, you already know you are cancer clear already. In the
Well, I knew in October.
Yeah.
I discovered it in March. And then it was all clear. And so far, every 6 months, the hospital would do the blood test, and I'm still all clear. And in fact, the doctor was saying, don't come back in 6 months now, come back in 9 months.
I see.
I see. He doesn't want to waste his time.
Wow, I think then the Hong Kong hospital doctors are quite more sensible, because this is the first time that I heard the doctors actually recommend the doctors there's no point for you to do the chemo because since most of the cancer.
Because he can see I'm doing pretty well.
Right.
So don't kill the body and don't overload the body, I guess.
Right. Amazing. So apart from those cancer treatments, right, then the cancer free, what are the other positive improvement that you have seen throughout this period of patching? That means you see your hair going darker, you see your appetite getting better, sleep, bowel movement, any other changes?
Yes, I mean generally, but then I'm constantly detoxing until this time in Bali when I went to a retreat and had colon hydrotherapy twice. And it makes sense to me because right through these years, I have been detoxing. How do I know? Because my skin was swollen, and sometimes it's itchy, sometimes the skin is broken and it's leaking and so on. So now I know enough how to deal with it. And certainly after I've started using the patches for so long, I never went back to the initial stage that the itchiness went down to my diaphragm. I had to wake up 5 to 6 times a night, and so on. But the detoxing, definitely, the patches are helping me. I do buy, because the first time when I started listening to your Zoom, all your theories support what I have found out so far. That's why I was so amazed that you're allowed to advise people don't have any operation if it is to cut out an organ, because you actually stop the body from any chance of healing, because the organ is not there to heal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And did anyone? Yeah, you continue.
Yeah. So from the sign that I have put on weight.
Okay.
And it's not just 1 or 2 pounds, it's 9.5 pounds, prove that I'm doing something right.
Right.
And a big part of it is, I must say, the patches, and I will say the essential oils. All right. I also adjusted my attitude. I also learned how to handle fears, hidden fears that surface. And I want to the main point I want to say is I with hindsight, it led me to think about, why do I have cancer? I'm sure, whatever religion that you have or not have, what's the point of it? We all lead ourselves to think about, what's the point? Why do I know about this person? Why do I come across this sort of things or events? And that led me think about a book that I've read called The Purpose-Driven Life. I don't know how many of the listeners here are Christians or Muslims or Hindu or Buddhist, right? But basically, any books talking about life with a purpose will come to the conclusion the purpose is not about us individuals. The purpose is always about other people. The point that we are here is to contribute towards other people's lives. So if you narrow it down to the individual, then it's something that all Chinese accept and believe, is that we come here to learn what we have to learn. And when we have nothing more to learn that we should learn, then we don't have to reincarnate. We don't have to come back to this earth and suffer again. So that's what the Chinese innately, regardless of what religion or non-religious person you are, that's what we believe. So Life Wave actually fits in with this life's purpose, because it widens our horizon about our own health. It widens our understanding of how we can help our own body without hindsight, because it actually prepares and strengthens our immune system so we don't get sick. I must say, since I started using alternative products before my cancer, particularly after my husband's death in 2014, I never had flu. So you can say, well, how come you had cancer? I think the major reason that I get lymphoma is because of my heavy metal poisoning on the cadmium that came likely. That's a conclusion that my naturopath, Dr. John Chan, and I sort of deduce. It's from non-stick cookware. So don't use anything with a coating. So I now stick with 316 grade steel. That means there's no corrosion. It's medicinal grade steel. Whatever that I cook, whether it's vinegar, whatever, the steel is not going to leach into the food. I use glassware, ceramic, and raw iron wok. So I get my iron that way. Okay. So anyway, for the purpose, I think that's the main point I want to talk about.
Right.
It fits in, and everybody that I've come across, I was very impressed by businessmen like Roy. No nonsense about him, but I was amazed that he actually learned Chinese acupuncture to help his mother, who had to take 16 pills a day, because he didn't believe that the pills would cure anything, but probably worsen the immune system. So he managed to help his own mother, and then turns around and help other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And for
Well,
the past 1 to 2 years times, right? after you have all these kind of results, did you have any um extended story where you use the patches to heal other people?
Well, I believe that with my swollen eyelids and red face, I'm not the best model to
Right,
sell life patch. But I had friends whose birthday, typically I have a 93-year-old friend. When he had his birthday, 92 birthday, I gave him X39 and Aeon as a present,
right,
and told him a little bit about the theory behind it,
right,
wrote down how he should use it, and taught his helper who's looking after him how to use it. So I never bothered to ask him, because I don't want to give him the impression, that I give him a lot of stress.
right,
So when he had his birthday, on the 93rd birthday, I then asked him, I'm going to give you the same present, but are you going to use it? If you're not, I'm not going to waste it on you. And he said, yes, and I want to buy them. So I asked him, well, why do you want to buy them? Well, how do you benefit from it? And he said, they give me more energy. He had to use a wheelchair. And he also said, I feel much more alert. When you have something chronic, or when you have lost part of your stomach or whatever, you're a bit more delicate. And you feel that sometimes you wake up, your brain is not all there. But he said he's more alert. And other
Wow,
people who know him, we actually meet once a week for lunch with a group of people. Other people also notice that he's more bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And so much so that when his helper had hurt her back, and I just said, well, why don't you let, whatever, use your patch? And he did. And then now the helper also joined, because she also wanted to use the patches. So
amazing.
I think the best thing is I use, if I notice somebody has some problems, I would say, well, I think this can help you. Whether they
Right,
want to try or not is really up to them.
right,
But a lot of the problems, no medication is going to help. So
right,
that's how I, find, that's the opportunity. I can talk to them.
right, 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 right,
Yeah,
right.
and a lot of younger people sort of ask me, what is it that you use, and I tell them, and they can't believe my age. It's always good to tell people my age. It's a very good competitive tool.
Hey guys,
You know, yeah. And of course, when people say that, oh, you don't look it, that's the reason why I tell them. When I look it, of course, I don't tell them.
hey guys, for someone who is almost 79 this year, right, Eleanor, you are
Yeah, yeah.
for 79 years old. If you look at her laughter, look at her voice, look at her clarity in reading the books, in remembering the details of her friends of the 93 years old, and all all the chronological event that had happened for the past 2 years, right? Did,
Yeah.
how old are you surprised to hear that she is actually 79 years old? Are you uh, are you guys surprised? If you guys are surprised, type 555. Are you guys surprised, type 555? I think even for people who is 60, 70, right? Even 65, right? They don't even have this kind of humor also, right? Amazing. And one more important thing. In Bali, you mentioned to me you were a trainer of is it Dale Carnegie, and then you break all the rules, something like this?
Well, yes, my before I retire,
Right.
I was a trainer a corporate trainer, management trainer. I conduct training for companies, but not computer skills or anything. What is called soft skills. So things are more abstract.
Amazing,
It's
amazing.
good that it's not measurable, you know.
Right. And apart from those changes that you have seen, right? Do you find your hair growing more or growing darker? Or do
Well,
you dye
my
your hair?
hair,
Or do
yeah,
you dye your hair?
my black hair started growing underneath the white hair way
Right.
back when I used my first energy product, which is
Right.
an ultrasound bath spa machine for the
Right.
bath. And basically, what I have learned all these years, particularly after my cancer, was that I have to look after first my digestive system.
Right.
At the same time, my circulation, not just for the blood, but circulation for any body fluid like lymph,
Right.
because that's the number one detoxing organ,
Yeah.
the lymphatic system. So
Right.
I use any product basically to help with these two systems. Then I worry about the heart, the liver, the kidney, and so on.
Right.
And if I look after all the two major systems, then my eyes and my ears, my lungs will function better.
Right.
Yeah. So when you ask about the patches, all I can say that is that my hair has been like this for 10 years.
Right. I see.
You can see that, you know, that there are black hair growing underneath
Yes.
the white, but it hasn't got whiter.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. And when you always listen to me talking about white rice and not taking fruits, right? Can you share some of your thoughts, because you have been seeing so many people for the past 80 years, right? So
Yes,
have you been taking white rice? Okay, come.
no, I have been taking multi-grain rice. I mix
Right.
my rice, different kinds, and I even mix in things like buckwheat and millet and so on. But I must say, I wasn't brought up to be regular.
Right.
That for those people who don't understand, is that I never pay attention that I have to poo every day, right? But because I had heavy eczema in 2015 for 2.5 to 3 years, I learned that I have to sort out my digestive system. So I have used a lot of products. By the time I was 69, which is 2015, I made myself regular. Now, as soon as I wake up, I go.
Right.
And I also learned that I have to drink more than 1.5 liters of water a day. That really helped. So for people who are constipated, go and Google a method called salt flush, SALT 盐吃的盐 flush FLUSH. So very easy, and then you train your system to flush out all the cement inside.
Amazing.
But you
And
have to, you know, it's no good trying one step to detox your liver or kidney, because your intestines probably are quite blocked. So you have to clear the intestines before you can help the other organs to detox. So I have been having fiber and so on. So I think my digestive system is able to have fruit, multigrain, fibrous things, and nuts. But I cut out sugar, caffeine, and dairy products from 2015. Those are bad news for the digestive system.
Amazing, amazing.
So I do believe that when your digestive system is weak, don't overload it. Cut out all the supplements, fruit, nuts, and stick with things that are easy to digest. So I fully understand and I fully support it.
Right. And you have written a statement saying that cancer is your best gift of your life. Can you briefly explain about this?
I think it taught me so much. And it regulates my own attitudes. It helped me to deal with whenever anything negative surfaced. And I also noticed that it helped me with my aura. It helped me with my magnetic field. I seem to draw people who are positive for me. And it is like a sounding board. We echo each other. So they gave me something that's positive, and in return, that also bounced off me, and then they received it. It helped me with the LifeWave business. I mean, I was sleeping, and the next morning, I was told that my downline was working so hard that I jumped 3 grades to be a presidential director through no effort of my own. I mean, they fell onto my laps. And if I'm not grateful for that, so I must say that this time in Bali, the thing that hit me is that group energy, is that corporate energy that you can't find until there's a group of people with such positiveness about a company, about its product. It's charging everybody up. It's motivational, and it is a once in a lifetime sort of energy that you can feel. You can't feel anywhere else.
Amazing.
But for such an occasion.
Right.
So the cancer really brought me a group of people that we are supporting each other. We are teammates. We are partners. It taught me a lot of positive things that clears away previous myths, previous sort of widely accepted, but they are not facts. They're just what the majority believe, or we were taught to believe.
Right.
That Western medicine it's like God, it can do everything. Well, you find that it has limitations, and I can pick and choose. I have options. I have things that are not urgent, and I can wait and use some other methods and have time to afford to wait and see.
Right.
Yeah. And the best thing that happened was that it not only brought more money. So I mean the income is not much as far as I'm sitting there not doing anything, but it means that it reduced my own cost when I use the products, right? At least that's what everyone should aim at, that I don't have to pay so much to use the product because I can help other people to use it.
Right.
And I'm not out to sell, but that's my reward for my effort and my time.
Right.
And if anybody feel bad about selling, then of course any money they make, they can donate it and help people to use the product that who can't afford it. You know? But people kept saying to me, it's so expensive. You know, it's $1,200 a month. I said, don't tell me about being expensive. Everything is cheaper than target treatment and chemo. And you're paying for poison. You're paying for poison that kills your cells.
Amazing. So one last question. I believe a lot of cancer patients, they are always at the crossroad, right? Because the family members, maybe the husband, maybe the son-in-law, is pushing them to go for the surgery, go for chemo, go to radiotherapy, go for this and that. And what is your advice to them as a cancer survivor that you know what you have been through?
I think it's our own responsibility to our own life. It's our own job to learn as much as I can. If you can Google, if you can read English or whatever language, if you can read it up, find out about the problem. Whereas I've come across people who actually said to me, I pay my doctors, it's their job to cure me. And one of my training area is presentation skills and image. And I come across men who don't know which side of their hair, which parting is. And they have to feel it, you know. So I said, when you go to the hairdresser, it's your head, his head, or is it your head? I mean, how come you just give your whole head, your hair, to him, and you have no say? You just close your eyes and do whatever you know, say to the hairdresser, do whatever you can to my hair. So it's my body. I'm in charge.
Right.
And a lot of friends, because out of their love and care concern, they really dragged me because they were so afraid that I would say no chemo.
Oh.
You know, I decided to have chemo because I don't have to lose an organ. So take my husband's cancer, for example. He found out without any symptoms that he got colon cancer, and his cancer was so big that had the operation been delayed for 2 hours, it would have burst into the intestine. So in a way, they have to cut out the lump so that it didn't burst. All right. And in doing so, they had to cut out part of the colon. But it is not somewhere a colonoscopy or a stool test would show. And it will only show as a PET scan or MRI or something like that. But because there's no symptom, we won't go and do an MRI for no reason at all. So if there's such a case, because of the urgency, and you negotiate with the doctor how much you're going to cut out, you're not going to lose the whole stomach or you know, the whole thing. I think a lot of gallbladder operations are really not necessary. You know, the pain, as long as it's endurable, tolerable, and there are other methods to get the stones to be smaller and being passed out. And at least that's what I know so far.
Right.
But then, how urgent is it? Take my husband's case. He has had a particular gene that's called K-RAS, RAS. And because of this gene, he would only respond to one chemo drug. And even if he had the chemo, which will last 9 months, the doctor would only give him 2 years. And out of 2 years, he had 9 months of substandard living. So he chose not to have chemo. He was, I think, 70, 71 years old. And we focus on the alternative methods. But I always say, 11 years later, had I known what I know now, he wouldn't have died. But at that time, we just didn't know. We didn't have time to explore all these alternatives.
Right.
So I think, my advice is find out everything that you can, and then make your decision. We can only make a decision according to as much as we know at that time. So all I can say to myself is that no regrets.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a very powerful words, Your life is your responsibility. You have to take the ownership of your health. And when you got the problem, the first thing is not to really seek for many professional advice, but do your own due diligence, improve your clarity and understanding, because at the end, the choice is yours. It's not your son, it's not your son-in-law, it's you yourself. So if you got any things that is that undesirable, not because your son push you, it's your ignorance or your refuse to try to learn that bring you to where you are. Okay, thank you so much, Eleanor, for your great time. Hey guys, 50 minutes non-stop, and I think I chip in very little, less than 5 minutes. She can speak straight 50 minutes non-stop. Can you see her energy level or not? If you think it's miracle, you type 999. For someone who got 10 tumors in the pancreas, up to 9 cm, lymphoma, and 79 years old. Crazy, guys. Okay, thank you, Eleanor. Thanks for your time, Eleanor.
Thank you.
Thank you. How do you say thank
Bye-bye.
you in Cantonese? 唔該晒啊? Is it 唔該晒?
感恩，好感恩。
感恩. Okay, thank you.
Cảm ơn.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Amazing, guys. Let me see. One, two. Wait. Cảm ơn. Amazing, guys. Okay, for those of you who came late, right? Because just now when she started, it's about 100 and plus people. So let me do a full overview, okay? So, Eleanor was diagnosed with lymphoma without any symptoms. So she went for the pre-insurance body checkup and realized there was a lump over there. And through the checkup, then a doctor diagnosed that she has lymphoma. Has the pancreatic tumors for 10 tumors. The largest one is 9 cm, and she had a lymphoma. So, and then just few weeks later, and she met the doctor, one of the doctors, and then she get to know about these stem cell patches, and then she started using it, and also doing the chemo, also doing the targeted therapy, okay. And of course, she also doing some other therapy like essential oil, sound bath, and things like that. And even the gong, and even have friends do the sound therapy for her. Okay, so in a few months later, after she completed the treatments, right, and then she continued to patch definitely, and then she went to London, And then when she come back from London, do another round of checkup, which is almost about 6 months later since the first diagnosis, and 95% of the cancer cell was already not active, deactivated already, or clear already. So fortunately, she met the doctors, and the doctor said, hey, you are looking good. The cancer is already deactivated. I don't see what is the reason you need to continue for 2 years of the cancer therapy. So I think it's fine. So slowly, she not going for any kind of a Western medication or Western treatment anymore. Just do the naturopathy way. And 6 months later, when she went to go the body checkup every 6 months, a doctor said, hey, you are looking better and better. Why don't you come 9 months later? So the whole story of today is just to tell you, right? A lot of people always tell me, my father is old already. The time is very urgent. My father is 75. My father is 80 years old. We need something fast. We must do chemo. We must do surgery. We must do something fast. So you see, if Eleanor, almost about 80 years old, is able to recover this way, you guys are 10 tumors, biggest as 9 cm. One of the biggest is 9 cm. It's quite huge, you know. So although she had done that 1 month of the therapy, right, but she didn't like follow what the doctor said to, to go through 1 year, 2 years of therapy. So the hope is always there. And throughout this journey, the very last sentence, right, I think is very important for all of us to really learn from these wisdoms. Our own life, our own responsibility. Most of the times, right, it's not about the doctors, it's not about your son. Like today, I came from Sabah. I came to Sabah, and one member told me about. So this lady, after putting the patch, right, the body feel better. But because of certain tension or doesn't feel so good, go to the doctors. The doctor say better continue to do chemotherapy. Do another 30 round of chemotherapy. You know? So now continue to do the patch, and she still have a lot of concern whether she'll go for chemotherapy, although she feel good. So she always have complaint, push the responsibility to the son. Say, my son, no, my son want me to go for chemo, lo. My son want me to do that and do that, lo. So ultimately, it's not about your son. It's not about your doctors. It's your choice, because the one who suffered is still you. Okay? Guys, amazing.